Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last week. This is it. This is it. This is week 15. We don't really have a week 16. I mean, technically, actually, last week was 15, the Thanksgiving week, and this is week 16. Okay, but this is all. This is it. You are finishing your papers and you're submitting them. And in honor of this great achievement, I decided to look like a teacher, an instructor for you, to make you feel like you've had this wonderful college experience being in this class 1101 and 1102 because I'm doing a dual lecture for both classes because this is the one time in which y'all have the same due date, both 1101 and 1102. You are submitting your papers, your final papers for me to grade. Okay, at breakneck speed. I'll have like 4 days to 3 days, 2 days to grade these once y'all turn them in by the due date. If you turn your essays in early, awesome. I would really appreciate it if you turned your essays in sooner than the actual due date. Sooner the better. I will be checking those and trying to grade those daily. Okay. So I'm gonna go over the one more final little edit of a person's rough draft just to kind of highlight some final points, and then that's it. I mean, if you've been making A's in your papers, I'm not really going over anything of importance today, anything new for you because you were already showing success. Okay, uh, and of course my policy is that if you do better on paper 3 than you did on paper 2, I will replace your paper 2 grade with paper 3's grade also. All right, but paper 1 is done. Paper 1 is done. Okay. So if you made a 65 on paper 1, and then on paper 2 you made a 80, then that paper 1's grade was changed to an 80 to match paper 2. And then on paper 3, if you make a 95, woo, that'd be awesome. Then paper 2's grade will be changed to a 95 also. But that paper 1 is still an 80. Okay. Now, if you get a 0 for paper 2, you never turn in paper 2. That 0 is not going to be replaced with whatever grade you make on paper 3. Okay. If you received a 0, and you can still turn in paper 2, but paper 2's grade will not be increased to match paper 3's because that's not really fair to all those people who turn their papers in on time. So if you turn in paper 2, which you still can, even if you haven't turned in paper 1 yet, you can still turn in paper 1. But the highest grades you can get on both those papers are still 70. Okay, let's just be sure we know that. So let's say today you submit papers 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time. Well, paper 1 and paper 2, if they're perfect, the highest grade you can get is a 70. And then on paper 3, if paper 3 is a 100, paper 2 and 1 are still going to stay at 70s because you turned those in late. Okay, the grade replacement is only was only effective on those that return in on time. Okay, all right. So just so you know, just gonna put that all out there so you understand. Okay, but this is it though. I'm really excited for you all to be able to finish 1102. Most of you will have one more literature course to take. I mean, actually, an actual literature course. These courses have been writing courses where I have not been critiquing your readings and your interpretations of the literature. I'm just grading you on your writing and your communication. But your next course you'll take is a literature course, okay? And depending on the school that you're at, I don't know all the literature courses that GTC offers. If you transfer to a different school, you can essentially take any literature course that you want to take to fulfill that requirement. You don't have to take world literature. You could even try to take American literature or Asian literature or something else. But you have to have at least one literature course in order to get your degree, whatever degree it is. Okay, because everybody in the state of Georgia has to have 2 writing classes, 1101, 1102, and a literature course. Now, in the literature course, you will be graded on your interpretations of the readings and if you understand them or not. So make sure that you do focus on that whenever you take that class. Okay. And those of you who are taking 1101 right now, finishing it up, you have 1102 next semester. Some of you might have me, and others might not. I'm sorry. I've gotten a lot of emails asking about if I can put you in my class for 1102. And the answer is I have no power. I have no power. These muscles, they don't exist in the online world. I have no muscle when it comes to this school. Okay. I am just a lowly adjunct who has no say. I just receive my classes and the rosters, and I say, thank you, university, for paying me and giving me the classes. Okay. I have no say in who's in them at all. Okay. So I'm sorry. All right, let's get to this. Okay. Again, I don't have much. I don't have much because it's the very end. It's the end, and we've done the same thing. This is the third time we've done the same thing. Okay. Both of you, classes 1101, 1102, will be going to lessons and finding the Dropbox. 1102, I'm sorry, 1101, your Dropbox is at the very bottom of the page. Essay 3, final essay, boom, right there. And then 1102, your Dropbox is in the final paper folder. Oh my gosh, come on, computer. I have too many things up. Essay 3 right there, you click on that and you submit it, okay? Now, the essay that I'm going to be going over today, this rough cut that someone sent me, is an 1101 student, but it's okay though, because it's the same type of style of writing. All right, setting it up and using sources and using quotes, okay? So we want to make sure that the first things first, that your formatting is correct, okay? I mean, it's crazy. I teach formatting in 12th grade. I teach formatting in 1101, and I teach formatting in 1102. And in all three levels, students are making mistakes, okay? So first off, I can already tell that the spacing between the heading and the paragraphs are incorrect. And I know this. I can just do select all. And if I go to paragraph, there's a blank. So that means that 0 for before lines, but the whole paper is 0, which is good. And in the whole paper is double space because that's there. But there's a blank here, which means that there's inconsistency, which I can tell there's inconsistency here. If I highlight this, I guarantee you there will be probably an 8 there. Boom! What did I say? An 8. And if I highlight this, it's either going to be a 0 or 4, but I'm thinking maybe a 0. Boom! 0! Look at that. What a stud muffin. So I need to change this, or this person, whoever's paper this is, needs to go to paragraph and go to 0. Okay, there you go. All right. This is justified, which is great. Very good. The headers are in correctly. Okay. See? Okay. This paper is only 572 words, which is not enough for both classes. I mean, 1101 needs to be over 1,000 words. I think it's almost like 1,200, I think. And then for 1102, it's definitely, so this person will need to write a whole nother page. Okay. Now let's look at sources, and that's the biggest problem is sources. Okay. So here we have Kaiser asserts in a 2009 article in reference to standardized testing. Okay. First off, we don't need to know the year. Okay. I mean, they can, it's not necessary. All right. But here we go. Nevertheless, subject tests provide blah, 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 blah. So it starts here, and this quote goes to here. Now, that is a really long quote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 lines. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 lines. So out of this paragraph, more than 50% of it is one giant quote. That's a big problem. Okay? That quote needs to be significantly reduced. If this was a long paper and this paragraph was much longer and you had this quote, cool. All right, we can include it. But it would look something like this rather than this is called a block quote. Because if you have a quote that's longer than 3 lines, it needs to be what's called formatted for a block quote. But I don't want you to use a block quote. I didn't teach those because this paper is short. Okay, I just whistled through my teeth. This paper is only 3 pages, 4 pages long. That's too short for a block quote. Okay, and when half the paragraph is a quote, that's definitely not appropriate. All right, so this quote needs to be cut down a lot. All right, because the way that it is originally inserted is incorrect. It's too long to be a quote. And also then right here, when we are citing a quote, the quotation mark goes before the parenthetical citation. Okay, so that quote needs to be, quotation mark needs to be here before the parenthetical citation, and then the period. Okay, let's see here. Vergé argues in the Daily Compass that this should be that, and if there's no comma before, lowercase, that the SAT is becoming. All right, again, there's the quote. All right, I'm going to assume that there is no page number. This is a online source because there's no parenthetical citation. The last name is used in the sentence, which is good, very good. Therefore, since the last name is used in the sentence, there is no need for the last name here. Okay. Now going down, though, I see this quote. We have a period, we have quotation mark, and then we have the significant number of colleges sticking with these policies despite coronavirus-related concerns. Warnings suggest the assessments will have a permanently diminished role in admissions. Bauer-Wolf, period. Okay, so there's a lot wrong here. One, it's wrong because it's not integrated. Quote needs to be integrated. Okay, currently this is a drop quote. This is a quote that's just dropped into the paragraph. Okay, and the way you know that a quote is dropped and that it's not integrated is that we could just delete it. All right, if we just delete it, there's no evidence that it's there. Okay, which is different than this quote. If I delete this quote right here, if I delete it, there is evidence that a quote was there. Because here we have Vergé argues in the Daily Campus that, and there's a period. That's an incomplete sentence. What does Vergé argue? Something's missing. It's not there. What? That means the quote has been integrated into the essay correctly. Because if I delete the quote, it leaves an incomplete sentence. The sentence is not completed. Okay, it's not a complete thought. But if I can delete a quote and just read continuously and never notice a quote is missing, then that means it was not integrated. For example, in fact, just recently, colleges have terminated the use of SAT, ACT scores in the admission process in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The fact that colleges can so easily decide to terminate the use of these scores might suggest that even universities are starting to see the needlessness of these antiquated tests. Okay? That reads perfectly fine. There was never a moment where we would be scratching our head like, what? Even though I deleted a quote that was right here in between these two lines. Okay, so that means that this quote is not integrated because I deleted it and there was no notice of it. All right, it did not leave any incomplete sentences or fragments. Therefore, it needs to be integrated. Okay, you can't just have a quote that's a complete sentence by itself. All right, that's the problem. And then also, this is incorrectly cited. We have Beowulf, okay, in parentheses, but Beowulf comes after the quotation mark. You're gonna have quotation mark Beowulf, period, and it needs to be integrated. Okay. Same thing right here. Look again. Although the SAT is outdated, it does help unrepresented people shine. It has been shown that the difference in SAT scores is in fact not because how the SAT is written, rather because of the differences in class taking and grading techniques in high school. I'm going to delete this quote. In high school, the SAT and ACT tests can also offer some benefits. It can cover up some weaknesses in an application submitted to a college or university. There's no awkwardness going from one sentence to the next, even though I deleted a whole quote. There's no fragments. There's nothing left behind showing evidence that there ever was a quote there. Okay, which means that this quote was incorrectly integrated. All right, it wasn't integrated. It's just dropped in, which is why it's called a drop quote. And drop quotes are wrong. Okay, so again, you got to integrate the quote. So that way, if you deleted the quotes, there'd be evidence that it was there. And we got to move that quotation mark. Quotation mark goes before the parenthetical citation. Okay? All right. So, of course, this is a rough draft. It's not done yet. Gwen Sapien might have been planning on integrating the quotes. Okay? She knows she needs to. She just puts the quotes in there, and then she'll come back to them probably and integrate them. So, which is, I totally get that. That's fine. All right. I'm not saying that this is the way that she would have turned it in, but this is the things that she still needs to do. And of course, she needs to add about, let's copy and paste this whole page. So she needs to add about twice as many words as what she currently has, and she needs to do her works cited page. Okay, which is the last page. It says works cited, and then she has her sources. Okay, so 1101 and 1102, you both need sources. You both need to have 3 sources in your final paper. 1101 is about a topic that you picked. 1102 is about a book that you read. Okay, and make sure you have your sources integrated correctly. You have them cited correctly. You have page numbers. Every single person in 1102 should have page numbers because every book has pages. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Ask them. Please don't ask me if I can put you in my class next semester because I can't. I have no power. Sorry. I'll go and tell you this. For your final essay, essay 3, I don't fix a lot of errors or highlight a lot of errors on your papers. I don't have time. I read your papers and I give you a grade. Okay. Of course I will click on the rubric, but I'm not highlighting and making notes on your paper like I do for papers 1 and 2. I made those statements and notes on papers 1 and 2 to teach you, to show you, give you feedback. But on the final paper, I read the paper, I take mental notes of what you're doing. As you're reading, as I'm reading, I'm also clicking on the rubric. Okay? And so you'll get a rubric, but you won't get individualized statements about things that you've done wrong. Okay? But that's the way all professors do the final paper. They read it, and as they read it, they do the rubric, and they give you a grade. They don't write the feedback and stuff on it because it's the last paper. There's no more improving after that. It is what it is. Okay. because it's the last paper. And we literally do not have the time to, because the window is so short from when you turn in your paper to when the final grades are due. Okay, that's the way it is. Sorry. All right. I hope you all enjoyed your semester here. I enjoy teaching the class. I like teaching the class. I like the subjects that I teach. I don't hate my job, and I hope you felt that, and I hope that you feel like you're a stronger writer, and that you're a more prepared college writer, because that's the main goal of this. This is not a creative writing class. This was not a professional writing class. This was a academic college writing course. Okay. All right. Good luck on this final week. Email me if you have any questions or any problems. All right? It's been great. Take it easy. Bye-bye.